Hello and welcome to Viewers on News. I am Jawad. Tehami. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is in Saudi Arabia on a 4-day official visit, and during this particular important visit he has already held a bilateral meeting with Saudi Crown Prince His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman. In a post on X, the Prime Minister wrote, let me quote, "We had a most productive discussion on ways to further strengthen Pakistan-Saudi Arabia ties in trade, investment, energy and security. Our enduring friendship and shared vision for prosperity is taking our bilateral relation to new heights and transforming it into mutually beneficial economic partnership," unquote. The Prime Minister also held a meeting with the Saudi Investment Minister and head of the Joint Economic Force for the Economic Engagement. The Prime Minister is also accompanied by a high-level delegation. The Foreign Office earlier in a statement had said, let me quote, "The Prime Minister's visit underscores deep-rooted historical relations between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and will pave the way for increased mutual understanding, enhanced cooperation in trade, investment, and greater diplomatic coordination on bilateral, regional, and global matters," unquote. We have also seen for a fact since this new government came into power, since last year, there have been several high-level engagements between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Prime Minister went to Saudi Arabia after assuming the office as the Prime Minister of Pakistan back in 2024 in April, and then we saw he went to Saudi Arabia in December 2024, also addressed One Water Summit over there as well. He had a number of interactions with Saudi Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman. We also know for a fact a high-level delegation, including the key ministers from Saudi Arabia and the leading businessmen and investors visited Pakistan. A number of MOUs have also been signed in various sectors between the two countries in order to increase Saudi investment here in Pakistan, also explore new vistas of cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Discussions regarding defense collaboration and cooperation have also been part of these interactions. A lot of these aspects are for discussion in today's show. For that, we are honored to be joined in the studio by Mr. Abdul Jaleel, senior economist. Mr. Abdul Jaleel, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. We really appreciate that. On Skype at the same time, we are honored to be joined by Mr. Baloch, former ambassador. Mr. Baloch, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Mr. Abdul Jaleel, if you allow me, let me begin the discussion with Mr. Baloch. Mr. Baloch, this particular bilateral relationship, in terms of its historical importance. So we know for a fact Saudi Arabia was one of those countries which recognized Pakistan right after independence. Right after that, within a month's time, the diplomatic relations between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia were established. I have an understanding, and I've read a lot about this particular bilateral relationship. It extends even beyond that very recognition on the part of Saudi Arabia of independent Pakistan. Could you shed a little bit of light regarding this particular relationship in historical perspective?
Yes, Mr. Jawad, thank you for this opportunity to speak on one of the most important aspects of our foreign policy. If I say that this is one of the cornerstones of Pakistan's foreign policy, even the context of what was the vision of our founder Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that Pakistan's foreign policy would be to consolidate and to have very, very close friend relations with Muslim world. So I think if we are talking about Muslim world and the Arab world, Saudi Arabia has a historical leadership role. And Pakistan has been lucky that we have, from the beginning, as you also mentioned, forged very, very friendly relationship. In fact, I was just thinking how to really describe Saudi-Pakistan relations. It is there's no aspect which does not touch between which is not touched in these bilateral relations in terms of cooperation. Ideological, yes, they are the ruler of Saudi Arabia is the guardian of the two holy mosques, and Pakistani people, Pakistani government, the founders of the country, they have that spiritual and ideological inclination. Economic, obviously Pakistan was and Saudi Arabia have actually, if you look at that, prospered together. When the oil was found, even before the oil was found, we have the history that how Saudi delegation used to come, vacation here, meet the rulers. That time, the local rulers, even those the states were used to have it. In fact, there's a very, very interesting history about how the Nawab of Bahawalpur, that time the Bahawalpur state, had a very, very cooperative relationship with the kingdom that time. So after the discovery of the oil, I think Pakistan's relations in the economic terms has been very, very strategic. And then we saw that Pakistan's relations with the Arabs in their difficult times in 1973 war were strategic and decisive in really making sure that Arabs come out of that war with honor. And see, we must not forget the leadership that used to be there. King Faisal, who is the leader of the Islamic Ummah, of the Arabs, a visionary. We had that time Saeed Ali Bhutto, that time. We had Sukarno in Indonesia, and several other leaders in the Islamic and Arab world. So I think what has happened that this relationship has a very strong ideological and political foundations, which is based on the vision of the founders, and then good that the people who came after them in the two countries have built on that. So we have built that relationship to that strategic level where the two countries are important partners and they are partners in development. So I think I just come down to the present now, that now what is happening, and I see the push is how to move this into 21st century. I think, and that is the kind of vision that seems to me probably visible the way Crown Prince MBS is taking Saudi Arabia ahead. So in that march, I think, and same is the case with
relationship into the 21st century, transforming this particular bilateral, deep-rooted relationship into an all-inclusive strategic economic partnership, given the fact that Pakistan is a huge youth bulge. There is a Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia into 21st century, how to transform that particular, what are the potential opportunities for both of these countries. Mr. Baloch, I'll come back to you for that take on this particular aspect. Mr. Abdul Jaleel, when we talk in historical perspective, this economic relationship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, what were the core areas in the sectors where it actually evolved and got the strength?
Thank you very much. This is a very good question, and we should try to explore our historical relationship which we enjoy with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf region as well. And we have inherited many common traditions of commerce, trade, of spirituality, religion, and the history as well. And they are deep rooted in our history as well. I mean, it doesn't exist at highest official level, it exists at people to people level. That's why both Saudi Arabia and people of Pakistan and the Saudi Arabia feel that they form the part of the same fraternity as well. Number one. And number two, Saudi Arabia is, of course, financial. I mean, mostly in a layman's, the people say it is a financial superpower. It has got a lot of resources. Now, the vision of the present leadership of the Saudi Arabia is to develop its resources so that it could create a modern society, or modern society with high-tech based markets. Now they have developed several institutions of commerce and the trade, and they have also modified their entire educational system, health system, which is geared up to, towards the creation of a modern state. And that is an area in which we can seek a lot of collaboration, and we can also contribute, to the benefit of the both in our development process. And so there is firstly, it's our next door neighbor, firstly. Secondly, we enjoy a very close and a deep relationship. So I think that there is a very deep dimension exists which we must try to explore by setting up a common institution or a shared institution of partnership, both in field of commerce, trade, and economic development. And to begin with, we should set up a common banking sector as well promoting investment in each other countries. Saudi Arabia has developed a lot of, they have developed a lot of, the market system on high-tech basis. That is an area in which we can, learn a lot from them. Even they have made strides which can, rightly put forward that they are much ahead, in these development projects over many European countries, over many Western countries as well. So this is a good opportunity, and I think the Prime Minister visit will prove very fruitful in this respect.
So when we specifically talk about the current level of the bilateral volume between the two countries, it stands near $5.7 billion. And historically, we would speak about Pakistan's imports from Saudi Arabia that primarily happen to be in oil and petrochemicals and machinery from Saudi Arabia. As far as exports of Pakistan are concerned, they include textiles, food products, and construction material. Now, these are the areas which have been identified in the past. What about the future? You've already mentioned the learning in high-tech area. That sector also provides immense opportunities. What is the potential of this particular bilateral trade volume going up from this particular figure that I have given already?
Saudi Arabia is a very fast. The base of economic relation that exists between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, which is very profound and deep. And I think so. A lot of it provides a lot of opportunity, a lot of area in which we can further, add our cooperation by identifying many more projects as well. Number one. Secondly, we must not forget that our major manpower is located within Saudi Arabia, within the Saudi Arabia, and and our expatriate community from Saudi Arabia, at least they contribute more than a $15 billion or $16 billion per annum. So there
in remittances.
Yes, remittances. So this is the big area in which we can contribute a lot. And in this respect, I will say it is the duty of the government as well, and the private sector as well, to prepare a manpower by upskilling our labor, by making them more professional. That is what is needed. That time of the unskilled labor is over now. We have to, if at all we want to help Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia will definitely welcome it. Saudi Arabia has taken a revolutionary step of development in this country, and they need a lot of highly qualified manpower,
highly skilled workforce.
Skilled manpower.
I'll come back to you. You already suggested of preparing that manpower on those particular lines, or on that particular pattern. I'll seek your recommendations on that particular line also. Mr. Baloch, before heading to that particular earlier question, how to transform this deep-rooted fraternal relation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia into an all-inclusive strategic economic partnership. Going back into 1951, as we were already taking a stock in historical perspective of this bilateral relationship, a treaty of friendship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia was signed in this particular year. Could you shed a little bit of more light in detail regarding as to the significance of this treaty and what does that entail?
I think it's a very comprehensive treaty which lays the foundations of a strategic relationship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. It gives fundamental principles on which is based on mutual benefit, synergies. I think the key word is synergies, as to how the potential of the two countries can be really synergized to be a win-win situation. And this is where I think we need to prepare ourselves. Prepare those strategic sectors, and I think the strategic sectors which have been identified even in that tweet that you read of the Prime Minister are very, very clear: trade, economic, investment, and in fact I would go beyond high tech, because the future is going to be of the economies which are driven by the high tech force. So I think this is where we come. And in this, the vital thing is that how the institutions of higher learning of the two countries can collaborate and cooperate. Research is yet another where the two countries can cooperate. And medical, I think there's a vision of Crown Prince to make Saudi Arabia as one of the centers of universal what is called the health tourism. So I think our doctors, our medical college, they produce world-class doctors, nurses, So I think these are kind of new areas where we should go. Even I think in the future, what I see that there's a huge vision of kind of not only contained to the Hajj and Umrah, but they want to develop several other avenues where tourists from all over the world would come in. So we could probably train our tour guides, language translators, and of course other infrastructure which goes with the tourism. So I think this is another area where we can go. The other, I think, critical area where I would think that the potential of Saudi Arabia can be used is AI. They seem to be very, very interested. Himself, Prince, we have the people, but I think it requires a huge investment. And I think there are indications that they are investing in rest of the world. Why not to take a small fraction of it, even if it comes here, our people go there. But this is one area where I would say that we should give high priority to collaborating in the development of AI and use of the AI in all sectors, education, health, automation, and all public, even public policy, public service delivery. So I think this is where I would suggest that AI should be one. And the other, yes, sector is the alternate energy. In fact, Saudi Arabia is putting a lot of priority on alternate energy. So I think this, and we are short of the really as a energy deficit country, since we don't have enough of oil of our own. So ultimately we have to depend on alternate energy, and I think we should develop synergy in developing first of all concepts, technologies, and then obviously encouraging the investments of Saudi Arabia. So you see, Saudi Arabia is has one of the biggest sovereign funds in the world. So this is how we have to prepare ourselves, that how we can make those proposals really good enough, which can really attract, because the world is becoming competitive, despite the fact that we have very good friendship with Saudi Arabia. But our investment proposal have to merit, have to win on merits, so that we deliver, and this collaboration and cooperation continues between the two countries. And of course, the other very big priority area is the security. We know that the security institutions of the two countries are collaborating with each other in terms of training, in preparing for all eventualities, and I think that should continue to go and continue to look at different new modern avenues where, in fact, even AI is used in the development of weapons, in ensuring the defense of the countries. And with that, I would say, is also another big threat that is common, is the cyber security. This is where I think Pakistan and Saudi Arabia should prioritize cyber security, and they should have scientists, they should have experts to collaborate and cooperate so that our borders, electronic borders of the two countries are secure. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Abdul Jaleel, there is an important point that has been made by Mr. J.R. Baloch, specifically talking about the kind of steps or the measures which have been taken by Saudi Arabia to alter the public investment fund into the world's major sovereign wealth fund. What sort of opportunities in that particular area lie for Pakistan?
You know, if you see geographically, Pakistan, Gulf states, and Saudi Arabia, we are placed in a very, very important position. This is an area which connects Central Asia, Europe, and Africa, and then the emerging economy of China as well. So the Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the Gulf region, this whole region, if they try to develop their commonalities through their common market, I think so, that there is a huge potential, economic potential, social potential exists for the development of a very vibrant international market. which can give us opening in the bigger market, in the emerging market of Asia, in the emerging market of Africa, in the developed market of Europe, and also, of course, the developed market of China as well. This is an area in which we need to work, both, and not by developing only the international market, as you see, not international market through our trade, deep trade and the commerce relationship, that we should set up a permanent institutions of development as well, in field of education, in field of health, in field, no society, the modern the economic system of development, they are highly interdependent. No country can exist in isolation. We will, unfortunately, we have not fully explored the potential that exists in this region as well. This is that's why now, that's why even the bigger power are taking a lot of interest politically in this region, and they are making sure that their presence in this region remains, it remains intact. And a lot of politics is going on in this respect. So we need to consider this factor very, very factor, on a very priority basis. And now, firstly and secondly, this is an area which can, which can do a lot in creating a just economic and a trade order in the world. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf region, this all, and Pakistan as well. If, as I was telling you, that if we are able to create a common market here, we can do a lot of service to the developing economy of Africa and to Central Asia as well. Of course, Pakistan will be a rich beneficiary because Pakistan has got a well-developed infrastructure, and secondly, we have got a quite experienced institutional, institutional framework, which needs to be updated, of course, through better governance system, through better corporate, through reformed corporate governance systems as well. That is what we need to pay attention to it. So what we have to do is that we have to work on a future vision in this respect. Future vision in this respect, so that we should be able to find a substantial share in the emerging market, in the emerging international market.
Okay, specifically in that particular view, when we talk about the Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince's Vision of 2030, what are your recommendations how Pakistan can align with that particular vision? What are the salient features? What are the priorities which have been set in that particular vision, and how Pakistan can specifically align to those salient features?
Energy sector is one. Of course, energy sector, as you know, Saudi Arabia can do a lot of service to Pakistan in exploration of the energy resources in the country. And we need investment, we need investment, also technical support. Saudi Arabia can do a lot of work. Secondly, Saudi Arabia can lend us a lot of financial support and to some extent technical support and exploration of the minerals, which are, which are hidden with a huge deposit underneath the soil of Pakistan. Number two. And number three, Saudi Arabia have made a remarkable progress in field of education and health as well. Apart from the religious tourism, of course, which is happening, which is increasing every year as well, right? And Pakistani society and people of Pakistan is no stranger to Saudi society. They always welcome the idea of working in Saudi Arabia. This is a big, so I think so that these are the area, and then high-tech bases. Pakistan, high-tech, Pakistan has developed the fundamental of high-tech bases. But what we are lacking is further, the financial commitment at a huge level, so that we could take it to its next level of running our mega industrial complex, on high-tech basis, specifically through the application of information technology, information technology tool. AI, artificial intelligence, will certainly, it's the future technology, and it is going to play a very vital role in this respect. So the Pakistan, as a part of its first priority, should place emphasis on it, and we should prepare both manpower and also develop a software in this region and provide assistance to Saudi Arabia in this respect. Pakistan is already earning, I think so there is a lot of potential in field of AI, and Pakistan has, Pakistan software export has attained a substantial, a substantial share in the international market. But still much more is to be done in this respect. There are certain impediments, for example, through our regulatory frameworks, the rules which are applicable to them, they need to be
There was an assurance given on the part of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif during his last visit to Saudi Arabia that the Saudi investors would be facilitated. And we have also seen the establishment of a special investment facilitation council that provides a one window operation in order to overcome all those bureaucratic hurdles and provide that ease of doing business here in Pakistan, especially for the foreign investors. I'll come back to you regarding as to the significance of that. Also, let me go once again to Mr. G.R. Baloch. He would be okay. I'll give you the chance, but please finish your thought.
I just would like to say, you have to think about it, because Saudi Arabia has got no water resources, it has no river, yet it was able to create able to create orchards of the dates and other.
How did it do that?
And how
do we
did
need to learn from that experience?
Technology.
I want your
This is
detailed
Yes.
take on that. Mr. G.R. Baloch, now when we talk about this Vision 2030 of Saudi Crown Prince His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, I've been going through different texts. This particular vision entails integration into the global financial markets, converting the country into global investment capital. One factor that you've already mentioned was the world's biggest sovereign wealth funds. Now, your understanding regarding the salience of this particular Vision 2030 and how Pakistan can take the advantage and capitalize to strengthen its economy in line with that particular vision?
I think, first of all, it's a great model. I think a lot of people are seeing it with envy as well as with suspicion. In fact, to be very frank, they thought that it's more of a daydreaming than real. But I think what Crown Prince MBS has done is to translate that big vision of his into reality. In fact, the Neom city by itself, which has now come out pretty far, what a futuristic city it would be, a self-sustaining city where there will be zero pollution. It's a city which really respects the environment, which would not pollute any mountain, any river. To the contrary, it will use the very topography where it is going to be. In fact, there was one interesting hotel they are building there. These are all old caves. So they have even not changed the shape of those mounts and those hillocks. And within those caves, they have developed an amazing futuristic hotel. Likewise, and there'll be no transport. There'll be so clusters of people who will be living. It's a big vision. So I think if we look at the development, it's all about the vision. Of course, maybe they're not able to attain 100% in next 10 years, but next 30 years, 50 to 40 years, 50 years. So I think what MBS wants to see is that Saudi Arabia becomes a modern society as well. In fact, one of the two elements that are very, very important is that 50% of their revenue must come other than the oil. And second, very prominent, which shows the progressive view of this. It's not only the economic and financial, there is also a social aspect to it, that 30% of the workforce should be women. Imagine coming from Saudi Arabia. Traditionally, the stereotype is that it's the most conservative. It means that it is not only the statistics that will move, but the society as a whole has to move. So I think likewise, we should align our also workforce. If tomorrow, I don't know really, just again my big thought, that let's start training our female doctors, engineers, IT, who can go and join up that women workforce in Saudi Arabia, which will be working in the next 20 years, 30 years or 50 years. So I think it's an amazing, I think it's, the development is also contiguous. It has to be. It has to be. So let's hope that something also comes to us out of that. So I believe that we really should get on to this Vision 2030 and beyond, and perhaps a blueprint for Pakistan-Saudi strategic, now I won't say call it friendship, partnership and brotherhood for the 21st century, next 50 years, 100 years. I think let it be a blueprint be prepared where all these futuristic aspects of development in the two countries it has to be a win-win. It's not only that Pakistan has to be on the receiving end, we should be at the also giving end, that by giving well-trained people, by giving Saudi Arabia very profitable investment opportunities, by helping them also develop infrastructure, which they want to do it in terms of planning, in terms of expertise. So I think it has to be a win-win scenario for Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Only then it becomes a very comprehensive and all-embracing friendship, brotherhood, and a strategic partnership. Yeah, Mr.
Pakistan, incumbent upon Pakistan to provide profitable investment opportunities to Saudi Arabia. Prime Minister has already assured the Saudi investors that there exists a business-friendly environment over here. We have established the Special Investment Facilitation Council that provides for one-window operation. During the last visit and his interaction with Saudi Crown Prince, His Royal Highness, the Royal Highness said, the Pakistanis are our brothers and sisters, and there is no limit for investment in Pakistan. There was also an agreement in one of the other interactions between the two leaders of increasing the Saudi investment package to Pakistan up to $5 billion in the first phase. Already Mr. Abdul Jaleel has said in his take that Pakistan looks for that very investment, particularly in the key sectors that he has already identified, which relates to energy, the exploration, the technical side of it, the investment in it. When it comes to mines and minerals, remains to be one of the key sectors in SIFC again. And then when it comes to education and health, your understanding regarding increasing this particular investment to this particular level in the first phase, and what potential does it carry with itself, given the fact that there is SIFC already established?
The new areas where we can really utilize this capital is to enhance our agriculture output. In fact, after our famous green revolution of 1960s and 70s, I think we have not had that leapfrogging process in our agriculture productivity. So productivity-wise, per hectare productivity, and also the utilization of water, because we are, mind you, Saudi Arabia is also, and so is Pakistan. We are water scarce countries. The fresh water, we don't have much of it. I mean, the per capita is now one of the lowest. In fact, we are the 7th most scarce country in the world. So that be the case, I think this is where the utilization of modern agriculture technologies, drip water, and several other technologies which have come up where you can use such seed which require minimum water. There are several varieties of the crops which require very less of pesticide, or no pesticide at all, or any artificial fertilizer. So I think we have to go for these kind of new areas where we can break the ground, not only only for Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, perhaps for the world. So why not to really establish a very, very modern, most advanced agriculture research council, our research center, either in Saudi Arabia in collaboration with Pakistan scientists, or in Pakistan, ideally in Pakistan, because we have so much of land, and of course now even SIFC, we are giving so much priority to agriculture, even we are visualizing of corporate farming and all that. So why not to discuss the possibility of establishing a very high-end agriculture research center, not only agriculture but agro-industry as such, like animal husbandry and so on and so forth, and medicines for the animals there's a whole range of new areas where it can, where we can collaborate. So I think these new areas, new out of the box ideas have to be explored in that exploration and preparing our partnership, which will be just ready to enter the 21st century, as I earlier mentioned, Mr. Chairman.
What do we need to learn from the Saudi experiences? You had already mentioned there was lack of water.
Yes,
resources there, but they converted huge swathes of land into orchards.
Yes, this is an area in which we can learn a lot from it. You know, Saudi Arabia is without water resources. There is no river, you know, and the climate is very hot. Yet they were able to turn huge area, as you say, the huge area of their desert into a green pastures.
Right.
And what was that? And now you can find a lot of orchards. You know, they are gaining ground on Saudi Arabian territory or on the Saudi Arabian soil. How the soil have changed. Actually, they have developed what some people call it civilian technology or water technology. They have developed water technology, which converts the humidity or the which actually takes vapors from the climate and converts them into water, and then very carefully it is driven into the root of the plants and the herbs and the shrubs. This is a remarkable achievement. This is a highly sophisticated technology which they have developed, of course, with the help of various Western nations as well.
The intelligent management of water.
That is an area in which we can seek a lot of collaboration, which would ultimately, help us in turning our own Cholistan desert and the desert Tharpakar into green one. And this is now the time where this is an area, the agriculture, I would say the way the water resources are, curtailing in our country. Water table has gone down as well. And even the land fertility is suffering a lot. So this is an area in which we can really turn the tide of the development of our country. As we all know that the 22% of the GDP is contributed by our agriculture production. And we should try to raise its level as well. Apart from that, Saudi Arabia has made a good stride and set up a good example by making the seawater into a humanly consumable, commodity. Now, through various scientific plants as well. I would say that this is another area in which we should seek collaboration with Saudi Arabia, which would definitely bring a new phase of development in our coastal area, which is deprived from the water as well. In Balochistan coastal area and the Sindh coastal area. Gwadar, for example, is facing a chronic problem of water shortage as well. And then apart from that, Gwadar port provides a connectivity, trade connectivity, commerce connectivity with Gulf region, and definitely, as I was saying, that this whole area, if it is converted to a common market, then we can have an access to the European market easily and to the emerging market, Africa. Africa is now, and Saudi Arabia, as you know, in World Economic Forum, Saudi Arabia has been declared as the most important character in the future development of the global economy. This is because they have made a huge stride, a huge development in field of high-tech base. And they have developed a very successfully new modern market. And the human service institution, health, education, social welfare, human services, they also fulfill the higher standards of efficiency as well. So this is an area, these are the area in which we should, of course, seek closer collaboration by setting up a joint and a shared R&D mechanism. Now this is an area, and I hope Prime Minister will take note.
There is one other sector that goes hand in hand with agriculture, that is livestock. What's the potential there?
Yes, livestock is very, and this is as livestock, apart from the fact that it is part of their, meat and the beef is part of their, culture. they consume the major part of this, the Gulf region food, or major part of the Middle East food is meat and the beef, right? And firstly, and the secondly, we know how many, we know very well that during the Hajj season, lot of cattle are needed for purpose, for the performance of the religious rituals of animal sacrifices. So right now, they have to import meat and beef from far off places like New Zealand, or a dairy product from Netherlands as well. But in our share is minimal, unfortunately, because we have not paid enough attention toward
What is
development
that
of dairy
particular
industry.
factor that we can actually focus on to get that competitive advantage in this particular sector?
You know, it's Saudi Arabian market is just located in our neighborhood. There is no problem of the distance as well, firstly. The secondly, Saudi Arabia is now Saudi Arabia depends as well as the food among the food items, this meat and the beef, they are the most important, and the cattle, they are the most important part of their imported stuff, in which, you know, we
You already
do not
mentioned that they are
mention.
importing it from as far
Far
as
off places,
from
yes.
New Zealand. What competitive, what area, what can make us get the competitive advantage in that, so that we are able to export that surplus quantity to Saudi Arabia?
Like goat, you know, for example, goat farming, we have not taken enough. Then this camel farming, then the sheep farming, then our, you know, Pakistani fruit, especially mango, oranges, etc., etc. These are the, you know, they are those items which we are producing in excess in our country, unfortunately. But they do not find their presence in international market because of the lack of connectivity. We do not have proper warehousing system here. We have to establish a warehousing. We have to mechanize agriculture. Then we have to set up a warehousing system so that the surplus store of the farmer could be stored. And then they are provided with international, you know, market by providing air linkages. Unfortunately, I would say that this is...
So work needs to be done on that particular front also. Mr. G.R. Baloch, people-to-people contacts and cultural exchanges, how bigger a role or crucial a role these two factors play when it comes to strengthening bilateral relationship between any of the two countries, and how they have done it when we specifically talk about this case of Pakistan-Saudi Arabia relationship?
I think this is a very important strategic sector because of the very nature of the economy and demography of Saudi Arabia. It is mostly our Pakistani who go to Saudi Arabia and not vice versa for the purpose of work. For the tourism sector, I think what we have normally, it's become a history that it's only the elite, the ruling elite, who have, some of them even have palaces in Pakistan, the Gulf countries. It's become a history because there was a time when Karachi was something, when Lahore was something, and people used to buy. Even now, where I live in Karachi, and I passed by several of the palaces, and I asked them who's the owner. They say it is a Omani prince, is the Saudi prince, it's the UAE prince. So I think those days can come back because our cities are now slowly and gradually coming back to normal peace and tranquility. So we should attract those young generation of the Saudi ruling families. That should be one of our major, because somehow they, for the near future, they're going to be controlling their destiny of their states respective. And we have cultivated those elite, and we should continue to do that. But in addition, I think in these countries, there's a increasing number of middle class Saudis, middle class other Gulf country citizens who want to travel. So I think we should create those opportunities and infrastructure in our cities, in our villages, in our resorts, like mountains and all that. And we should promote our tourism potential, which we have so much.
Short of time, Mr. G.R. Baloch, I'll have to end the show right over here. Thank you very much for your time, for being with us, as always, in this episode of Views on News. Mr. G.R. Baloch, former ambassador, joining us on Skype. Mr. Abdul Jaleel, senior economist, thank you very much for your time, for joining us in the studio for this episode of Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. With that, we come to the end of today's episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.